Hello to all you vacation rental pioneers out there. My name's Matt Landau, and this is Unlocked, the podcast series that introduces you to the world's leading vacation rental innovators by diving deep into one single key, one specific best practice or technique that opened the door and changed the game. Brad Stewart of Stewart Mountain Lodging in Sundance, Utah is one of my BFFs in the industry. I think it's fair to say that I admire Brad's work as much as he appreciates mine. I especially like how Brad thinks in systems and processes. And when he was sharing with me the following idea over breakfast in Phoenix, Arizona at the Streamline Summit, I asked if we could break off into the adjacent empty room and archive the idea, if you will. Without any further ado, here's me and Brad. My name is Matt Landau, and this is Unlocked, and you are Mr. Brad.
Mr. Brad.
That's how I refer to you.
Okay.
How long have we known each other?
6 years. I was one of your first disciples in 2012, and I ordered your I don't remember the name of it.
Boost Occupancy?
Yeah.
Oh,
your
yeah,
Boost
I remember that
Occupancy
book.
report.
Still pretty good.
It is pretty good. It's still relevant.
Time.
And so you've been a great mentor for the industry and for our organization.
Thank you. And it's been a pleasure to follow your guys' journey as well. We only got to meet each other in person for the first time, I think. Was it last year?
Last year, yeah.
Yeah. And you told me a little bit about your business, and share with our listeners what this vacation rental business is about, where it's located, and what makes it special.
So we're located in Sundance, Utah. It's not a town. It's a small little resort. Not even a kind of a community. There's no retail. There's the Sundance Resort, and then 250 private homes.
And then there's a
area.
film festival as well?
So the film festival, the resort is owned by Robert Redford, who has spearheaded the independent film industry, and he's kind of the grandfather of independent film. And he has the Sundance Film Festival that actually takes place in Park City. So the little backstory in following your storyline is in the late 1800s, my grandfather was a land surveyor. He homesteaded this area. So the Stewart families had a long legacy in this area. Robert Redford met a girl from Provo, moved there, bought his first 2 acres in the early 60s, and then when he made Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid in 1968, that kind of put him on the map. He bought this little homespun ski area from my uncle and changed the name to Sundance, which is the embryo of the entire Sundance brand, the film festival, the catalog, the Sundance Channel, and the Sundance Resort.
That was all bought from your uncle?
Yeah, and my family, yeah.
Wow. And so that leads us into your vacation rental business in Sundance.
So 10 years ago, Vicky, my partner, and I, in life and business, bought our first vacation rental. It was at the very beginning. We were running a little boutique marketing, advertising enterprise, and we lived in this area, and thought this would be a fun little side hobby, and the joke's on us because now it's our full-time gig. We acquired this at a time that the space was just starting to expand. I think there were 8 rentals in the Sundance area at this time, and there's now 60. We have about 30 of those. So it's a very niche market in the sense that our only competitor in the PM space is the Sundance Resort. So and RBOs that are in this area. So it's a very affluent area in the sense that Sundance has attracted a brand or established a brand and has a following of a fairly affluent clientele. So it's to that end that we've tried to really raise the quality of our properties and maintain more of a level of guest experience that contributes and fosters guest retention and owner acquisition.
And I'd like to go down the owner acquisition route for folks who are listening that are not property managers. One side of your business has to do with property owners. You work directly with them, and you need to maintain great relationships with them. You need to have good communication with them. Your business partners, in a sense, right?
Exactly.
And the second half of your business is guests, the forward-facing hospitality side. And that must be 2 hard things to balance, by the way.
It's the dynamic role of a property manager. You definitely wear 2 hats. There's guest marketing and there's owner relations. And sometimes those conflict. Our sense is that owners, once they're informed, once they're educated about the metrics of their property and the quality of the property and the guest experience, that lays the groundwork to try to have the owner buy in to the improvements, the amenities, And therein lies one of our biggest challenges, which is what we're here to discuss.
So let's go through some of the main friction points or obstacles in bringing on a new property, because in such a small market, it must require absolute precision. I mean, you need to be really, really good in order to not burn any bridges or form bad relationships to have your reputation, right? What are some of the challenges that go into that?
Well, it's interesting. You talk about reputation. Because of the family and the legacy that our family has in this space, in this area, there's one throat to choke, in a sense, and that is that you don't have a second shot at a first mistake. It's a very small community, and there's a responsibility, an accountability on our end to do things right. I think because these are primarily second homes, these are owners that property taxes have skyrocketed. They're looking for ways to offset some of the financial burden of home ownership, and they want to try to maximize their return. But at the same time, our onboarding process is very strongly oriented toward making sure the property presents well. And so that means investment, and that means educating the homeowner. And one of the challenges we've found is to continually nag at a homeowner about things that they need to do, the little things. The bigger things, you need to have a hot tub, you need to have updated appliances, you have outdated carpet. And Vicky, my partner here, is the spearhead at going in and doing these property assessments and property audits on behalf of our company, and having the subtlety and the discretion to deliver that information to the homeowner in a way that it doesn't feel insulting, but at the same time, that it becomes actionable, that the homeowner will be responsive.
And so that kind of all led you to, as I understand it, the forming of this kind of standard or standardization process. Is that right? You have a name for it too?
That's correct. It's and there's even a document from the vacation rental housekeeper professionals, and they have standard unit appearance or standard property appearance. It's an acronym, which we're trying to put in place that more formalizes this ongoing, continuous process improvement of homes. And so rather than just the informality of calling a homeowner and saying, we got a guest review, you've got dirty carpet, or you've got this, a wear and tear issue, we thought formalizing a program, giving it a name, even designing a little graphic icon that becomes a more anticipated form of a conduit of communication to the homeowner that allows them maybe not to be surprised, maybe it's a little bit more routine, we do it periodically, seasonal audits of their property, making sure that all the things at the end of a busy season are restocked, but it's more about just ensuring the quality of the property and explaining to the homeowner that this program will result in better guest retention, better guest experience, and more bookings back to their particular property, because our findings are that once a guest enjoys an experience at a particular property, their tendency is to book that property again when they return.
I'd like to take a quick moment to share a little vignette that I keep coming back to, and it's the vacation rental movement like a parade that's coming through town. As independent owners and managers, we can either jump in and join the action, or we can watch it pass by. And as you can hear from this conversation, joining in on the parade means innovating, adopting new technology, and doing things that haven't been done before. This podcast would not be possible without the support of Point Central, a company that epitomizes innovation. Their property automation services like smart locks and smart thermostats allow us to focus on the highest value jobs, in the process delivering a more seamless experience to the people that we work with. Head over to pointcentral.com/VRMB to learn more. That's pointcentral.com/VRMB. Thanks to the Point Central team for their leading role in our proud vacation rental parade. Now let's get back to the show. And if I'm not mistaken, you had kind of an epiphany when you realized that one person on your team can't really speak all those different messages. And so you kind of began making this a team process. Is that right?
Exactly. Everybody in this space knows the quality of a property is not just a housekeeping function. It's not just a maintenance function. It's not just a sales function. It's the collaboration of all of these stakeholders in the property. So you have your reservation people, you have your maintenance people, you have your housekeepers, your inspectors, your stagers, the people who are responsible for supplies are all, contributors to how a property presents. So the program enlists the support and the collaborative efforts of all of these stakeholders to visit a property and all get on the same page and have, in a sense, a unified opportunity to see what the property should appear. And one of the other takeaways from this is to establish not only what the guidelines are, but how do you present those guidelines to the maintenance, housekeeping, and inspectors. So we have gone through and taken photographs of every room. This is a carryover originally from a binder idea where you take photos, put them in a binder, put them in the property. Well, those are outdated the day you put them in the property. So we've established Dropbox galleries of each property and gone in and shot all the properties. These aren't the sales photos. These are staging and housekeeping and maintenance photos. So they don't have to be super quality. You could do it with an iPhone or a decent camera. But then we download those to a gallery in a different folder for each property, and then all of our inspectors, housekeepers, and maintenance people have tablets. Tablets are $75, $80 at Best Buy, and they're easy to update because you can go into a gallery and change out a photo. You can actually put a PDF of a checklist in as a file.
Make notes.
You can make notes on the photos. You can say, this is how the kitchen looks, this is how the bedroom looks, this is how the... So you have not only does everybody agree, but then they have a frame of reference on how exactly that property should look for guest arrival.
And I'm guessing the outcome, the impact of this, the consequence, is that property owners, the homeowners, sort of have this very textured and balanced understanding. They know it's not just you being picky at certain things. They know this is a full team who is a professional designed to do just this. Is that right? Does that make it easier?
If you raise the awareness of what we're doing as a collaborative effort to raise the quality of the home, the homeowners recognize that. And I think their recognition of that effort has a little contagious effect, that they feel like, look, what these people are doing to try to improve my home. And that sort of does, help sort of solicit their participation and their excitement that they can improve the overall quality.
I love it. I'm going to try to summarize this concept for my own purposes and for folks who are listening, and I'd like you to let me know if I missed anything. But basically, you realize that communication with prospective homeowners is key, and also that a lot of feelings come into that conversation. So being as objective and quantifiable as possible is best. But you also realize that from your team's perspective, no one person could really speak all those different languages, and that having a team, a group of housekeepers, maintenance, reservation, everyone compiling their input and agreeing on a common voice, that common voice, when packaged properly with a logo and a nice name to the homeowner, carries much more clout, and it opens up much more transparency. There's much fewer complaints, and I'm guessing it results in a better quality owner and longer term business relationship.
That's right on, Matt. And I think the other thing is it's sustainable. It isn't, you don't do it once and it's done. It is sustainable, and the deliverable, the way you ship this information to these stakeholders is through technology of allowing the visual reference to what your standards dictate.
Yeah, like they can actually see it in the photo if you're giving them access to the
Pictures
Dropbox.
worth 1,000 words.
Amen to that. That was excellent, Brad. I'm really impressed by that. And Vicky, you too are really pushing the boundaries of what this industry can do. So congrats.
Well, and thanks to you, Matt, for creating a conduit for this kind of content out to the rest of the vacation rental space, because it is the ability to share the brain trust of a collective group of people that are trying to find their way and find these best practices, and you and Amy and the leaders in this space are being great facilitators for this information, and we want to thank you.
The feeling is mutual, so thank you guys. And to close, just a quick reminder of who made this episode possible. It's Point Central, the property automation experts of our industry. Head over to pointcentral.com/VRMB to learn more. And when you use that page, you'll become eligible for free HVAC analytics, which tells managers when the HVAC starts to misbehave before our guests get upset. This also makes property owners happy by taking care of the problem before it becomes too expensive. And if you're feeling cheerful, please also consider writing us a quick review in your podcast app. We read every single one of them, and we pass them along to our esteemed guests. This industry is growing up quickly, my friends. This industry is unlocked.